Winifred's grandson, although only her as Bette or grandma. So through my delivery today, I'll refer to her as Bette for the remainder of the service. As Bette will conduct life on her own terms, today we get part of a little from the traditional type of service, for one I'm not having knowledge shovels. Today's program includes a run-through of Bette's life, some of my personal observations, some words from family members and guests, and a moment of reflection. Bette would not have wanted a solemn, overly formal ceremony, and considering a long and extraordinary life, this service should be more of a celebration of a life well lived. There will also be another service to be conducted in Sydney in October to allow those that are not here today to say their goodbyes to Bette as well. The music you will hear today at various points is among Bette's favourites, so there are another two tracks that will play for you. I would like to commence with a thank you to everyone who has attended today. Special thanks to those who have travelled from interstate, being Therese, Amelia, Sue, Travis and Genevieve. I would also like to thank Amelia for her assistance over the company over the past 3 days whilst the service was arranged. A thank you also to the staff attending from the Empress and for looking after Bette in her final months. The past few years of Bette's life were very difficult, whilst her mobility and mental faculties deteriorated. The tireless efforts of Josephine, my mother, and Therese, my aunt, in caring for Bette made sure she was comfortable and maintained a good quality of life for as long as possible. So from myself and all the new Bette, thank you for that. Bette passed away on Saturday, the 9th of August, at the distinguished age of 94. Her final 8 months were at the Empress Nursing Home in Adelaide. As one of the last family to see Bette alive, I know she passed peacefully and was not in any discomfort. It was only in the last few months that her health seriously declined. The photo that you can see on the screen over there was taken on her 94th birthday, Christmas Day, last year, shortly following her move to Adelaide. I'll now give you a bit of a history of Grandma's life, and you can see some photos of Bette on the screen. Bette is the daughter of Kate Emma and John Pettit, and was born 7 weeks premature on the 25th of December 1919 in Coonamble. Due to being premature and the resultant complications that entailed, it was an incredible misdiagnosis by the doctor, but it stated that Bette was not expected to live long. Along with her brother Arthur, in her early life she was something of a reluctant gypsy and lived in many country towns as her father moved from business to business. Here is a few of the towns where Bette resided. This list is not complete, but does clearly illustrate the frequency with the family moved. I can recall being amazed on family road trips how often we would pass through a town and find out that Bette once lived there. When Bette was 5, she spent a year in Cambridge with her mother and brother. They travelled to and from England by ship, which took time and required frequent stopping. It was 1926 when they returned to Australia, whilst stopping off in Africa, that Bette contracted the black measles and then followed that up with smallpox. This resulted in a 9-month quarantine period of isolation, and I myself often speculate on how that particular event might have shaped Bette's later life. The amount and frequency of travel in Bette's early life impacted her performance at school until she attended Lithgow High School, where she excelled and was a prefect. Although her continued attendance at Lithgow required her to board there, as the family again pursued business opportunities, this time in Taree. Bette did not attend the last 2 years of high school. Instead, she worked in her father's shop, which is now in Parkes, which was in Parkes at the time. It was here that she made the acquaintance of a young law student called Dale, and a romance blossomed. When the family again packed up and relocated this time to Sydney, Dale found a job in Sydney to be with Bette. You can see some photos from the wedding day. Bette and Dale married on the 1st of September in 1939 and lived in King's Cross. When I was putting together research for this eulogy, I noted that Somewhere Over the Rainbow was actually the song that was released in 1939. 3 days after their wedding, war was declared. Using money earned from working in her father's business, Bette bought a residential in Paddington, and they both earned Olympic living by renting out the rooms. Although it occurred to me when I was reading through notes, and I got a lot of this material from Zoe, who previously had done a lot of research on Grandma. The list of regular residents seems to have been very family orientated and included Bette's sister-in-law Valerie, Valerie's husband and son Murphy, her other sister-in-law Zilla, her mother-in-law Violet, and her father-in-law Bill. I'm hoping that what's going on. It was in Paddington that Bette's first son Bill was born in 1940 at Paddington's Women's and Children's Hospital. In 1941, they relocated to St John's Park. Bette loved the 2-bedroom house, which included a large veranda and garden. Also in 1941, they relocated for a brief period to Melbourne so that Dale could attend Air Force training with the RAAF. Upon completing his training, Dale was posted to Papua New Guinea and was there until the end of the war in 1945. Bette returned to Sydney and moved in with her mother, father and brother in Bexley, and in 1942 gave birth to Josephine. During the period that Dale was away, Bette lived alternatively at St John's Park in Bexley in order to care for her mother, who passed away in 1944. After Dale returned from the war, they lived at St John's Park for about another 12 years. Therese came into the world in Canley Vale Maternity Hospital in 1948. The last of Bette's children, Michael, arrived in 1950, also at Canley Vale. In 1953, they all moved into a brand new home in Cabramatta. And then again, they moved in 1959 to St Mary's to accommodate the growing family and to provide a good country-style environment for the children. But St Mary's is known as a country area. Bette and Dale separated in 1964. Following this tumultuous time, Bette moved to Guildford and opened an antique shop, where she lived at the rear of the shop, supporting Michael and Therese. Dale succumbed to bowel cancer in 1969, but Bette continued to support Therese at Michael University until they graduated in 1970. For those who remember this house, this is actually a recent photo. It was actually up for rent on realestate.com, so I got this fresh. That's what it looks like today. In 1970, Bette settled at 52 Pennant Hills Road, North Parramatta, where she spent many years surrounded by family. She also travelled a lot, going to Europe, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Singapore and England. Also during this time, and in 1970, she had cancer, but made a full recovery after a series of operations. My memories of Bette at this time are fond ones, including many family visits, Christmases, birthdays, Easter egg hunts in the garden, 2 cats called Beelzebubs and Trumpkins, and spins around at the Hills Hoist from Uncle Michael. I also recall the wonderful coconut ice, cakes, and egg cups of condensed milk that Gran used to make. Dagmar and I would have a little bit before going to bed and wake up to find that the remaining dessert had disappeared overnight. Gran always claimed that the fairies had eaten it all during the night. I wasn't very fond of those thieving fairies. On one of the many trips around the New South Wales countryside with Gran, she had us all try fresh, cool water from a stream, and it was declared the best tasting water we'd ever had. So we bottled some and took it home. Once it was gone, we asked Gran what to do now that the great water had gone. She had the answer. She filled the bottle from the tap, put it in the fridge for an hour, pressed out fresh, cool water again. Over the period that Bette lived in North Parramatta, Pennant Hills and then later in Balmain, her constant companion was Cliff. They travelled extensively over the years, including 2 overseas trips to England and Europe. They also had many road trips around New South Wales and Victoria, and I mean many road trips. Which amazed me, because Cliff was the most awful driver I'd ever experienced in my entire life. It is amazing to me that they lived beyond 75 by virtue of going on those road trips with Cliff. Personally, I was terrified every time I was with him. However, Cliff did provide Bette with the companionship that endured for many years. After living for many years in the Pennant Hills area, Bette moved to Balmain and was there for a number of years. I was a teenager when Bette lived in Balmain, and she was lucky enough to have a VCR when many didn't. So I was often at her place to watch videos. The VCR was so important, I took a photo of it. To watch what I wanted to see sometimes required a degree of perceived cunning on my part. It would go something like this. Gran would say, "So what movie shall we watch, Marek?" And I would say, "Well, Gran, there's a really good historical period drama set in the 1930s about an American professor and his involvement with Nazis in pre-war Europe." "Well, that sounds good," she would say. "Let's watch that." "What's the movie called?" I think she always saw through my deceptions and enjoyed my selections anyway. For me, my relationship with Bette, humour formed a large and enjoyable element of the life. Some years ago, Bette was listening to me banging away on Teresa's piano, rather badly. Bette exclaimed, "Oh, Marek, you play so beautifully. I'm going to get you a piano for Christmas." I was taken aback. I was living at Teresa's at the time and could not contemplate how to factor a piano into my arrangements. So after some thought, said to Gran, "That is a great offer, Gran, but I don't think it's practical at the moment," and we did not proceed. At any rate, it was with some excitement that I was looking forward to Christmas that year. I mean, if not a piano, what other amazing present would I be getting? Well, I did manage barely to contain my chagrin when my present turned out to be a very 33 gift pack. The travel continued. Bette took my sister to Norfolk Island and was with Mum, Therese, Phil, my sister and I, and it was our first trip overseas to Europe. After living in Balmain, Bette lived next door to Josephine at Katoomba for a number of years. And like with all the places that Bette lived, Katoomba became the centre for the majority of family get-togethers. I remember fondly jumping between Bette and Mum's houses depending on where the next activity was to be conducted, which was mostly more food. In 2002, tragedy struck Bette and the family with the sudden and unexpected passing of her son Bill. Bill is remembered with love, and for the son he was to Bette. I can recall that he was always looked after her, with everything from mowing the lawn up to taking care of her financial situation. Bill's marriage to Sue also brought happiness into Bette's life by bringing Sue, Genevieve and Travis into the family, and even though Bill is no longer with us, their connection to Bette and the family remains strong. After living at Katoomba, Bette started to require a higher degree of care. However, this did not slow her down. Whilst at Woodland, she accompanied Therese to England, travelling first class, you know those. And I know from these two photos, taken 26 odd years apart, that it sums up what a fashionista Grandma actually was. Bette spent her remaining years in two aged care facilities, but still attended the festive functions either at Teresa's house in Sydney or by coming to Adelaide. Her trips to Adelaide comprised some enjoyable road trips with Therese, or some not so pleasant but much quicker flights. Her last flight ever was to move to the Empress in December 2013. On arrival, she was pushed up the exit ramp in a wheelchair, looking like royalty. I noted that she adopted a little regal wave that I'm pretty sure was not just for us, but was also for the general Adelaide public. Bette had arrived. Bette is succeeded by 9 grandchildren, and at present 6 great-grandchildren. That number is likely to grow. Although life always includes periods of happiness as well as sadness, I know Bette was always very proud that all their children became successful in their lives and careers. This includes the birth of the grandchildren and great-grandchildren, the legal careers of Bill and Therese, Michael's engineering career, and Josephine's medical erections in pharmacy and health medicine. I know this slide does not contain everyone, I simply don't have all the photos, but you get the idea. It is virtually impossible to encapsulate Bette's life into these few short sentences. However, for my part, these are the observations of myself and others in the family. Bette's door was always open to family, as a place of refuge or companionship when required. For the period of my life, she never worked a regular job, and thankfully dodged the pressures of modern working life. However, she was always immensely proud of the career achievements of the family. Even though her early life was so transient, Bette loved to travel and did so extensively. The holidays my sister and I had with Grandma were an important part of our lives and influenced positively the people we are today. I never saw her unprepared or unready. Even living with her for significant periods, she would wake up, go to the bathroom, and emerge looking ready for either just a regular day out, an overseas holiday, or a day at the races. Like many in her generation, she had an inner strength and a kind of royal presence that is rare to find these days. Remind you of someone? Gran enjoyed road trips, which is to say that with the presence, again, not unlike the Queen, she enjoyed being driven around. Thinking back, I can never recall seeing Bette cry. I know she must have, but not that I can recall. Nor when she was annoyed did she raise her voice. A curt comment or a frown was all that was required, and he knew Bette was not amused. She always enjoyed a little drink. I have fond memories of the occasional contra with Bette. She also enjoyed a beer, always sipped with a quiet refinement, which was in stark contrast to the consumption habits of many of the other family members, myself included. To close, the list of people I have known closely since birth is a short one. Gran was a constant source of stability. Was it just about every major milestone event in my life, and provided me with so much that cannot easily be defined. But most clearly, the love she had for myself and her family stands out. Her presence in our lives will be sorely missed, and I know her legacy in life will endure through the way she touched everyone that knew her well. So those were my words about Grandma. I also have some words from Zoe and Therese. This is from Zoe, who is currently in England. I've always felt so privileged to come from a family of such strong women, and standing at the head of that was Grandma. She was a true matriarch and someone that I looked up to a lot. She was brave, resilient, beautiful, strong-willed, feisty, and intelligent. She lived a life that is to be admired, but she was also an amazing grandma. She was kind, patient, warm, welcoming, and always there. She never got mad, except for that time me and my friend Liv ate a whole box of Whalen chocolates without giving her any. And she would always play with me, even when I made her use the really crappy Barbies, and the Inspector Gadget who was missing his Go-Go Gadget arm instead of a proper Ken doll. Above all, she was incredibly generous with her time and anything and everything else she could give. She was always fiercely protective of and devoted to her family, and she always looked after us. I know that I'm very lucky to have Grandma in my life. I love her very much, and I'll miss her more than I can really say. And now some words from Therese. In the 70s, Mum started to travel. Her first big trip was to visit me in the UK. We went to Scotland, London, Isle of Man, Cambridge, and also to Rome and Sorrento in Italy. The next one was also to the UK, and she and I drove from Holland, Luxembourg, Germany, France, Spain, back to France and Paris, and then back to the UK. On the way home, we also went to Singapore,